Warning. The following podcast contains explicit language, honest opinions and a sense of humor. Welcome to the Brothers Take.
Hey everybody!
Yeah, you do it.
No,
Why not?
it's not my thing. It's your thing. You do it.
I think Eric, what's your take? Give me your take on my intro.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our grand finale.
It's not a fucking carnival. Like, step up.
$2, only $2.
Come one,
these
come
three
all.
guys.
It's a fucking-
Jellies, got your jellies.
I feel like we're about to
Speaking
fucking open
of.
up like a Santa's grotto. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I am Chris, joined by my brothers Adam and Eric. And we are back in the room, or in the carnival, to talk more about video games with this week's episode focused on Ghost of Tsushima, which we are finally revisiting to talk about in all of its glory because Adam finished it.
Hey,
Holy shit.
congratulations.
And I think he finished it more than we finished it. He was like, oh, when I'm going to finish it, I mean, like, I'm actually going to finish it.
Yeah, you did the 100% thing, and I was like, that's fair. How the fuck did you, like, kill somebody by jumping from, like, that's a trophy, and it's such a random one, where you
What's
jump
it?
off from a height, and you injure yourself. But in the process of injuring yourself, you push a Mongol off a cliff and kill him. And I was like,
No, you
that
don't.
is-
That is not what you have to
That
do.
can't be what it is.
that's not what it is.
No.
I don't think so. Why would that be a trophy? You
I
must,
don't know.
you must injure yourself and push a guy off a cliff.
I
Chris,
was
It's so specific.
I saw this trophy, and I was like, that's the most random trophy out of all of them. That sounds so ridiculously hard.
No, I'll tell you what the actual trophy is right after Chris hit the music. Just thought that'd be a cool intro, Chris.
That was a cool intro,
I
Adam.
don't know how, but I always forget that we have to do an intro.
No, there's always
Yeah.
music. There's always music.
Always
But
music.
anyway, I
Yeah,
think
but-
it's important to say, by the way, if you're listening to this episode, we did a first impressions video before, and that was that we had all played as far as, say, Act 1 of Ghost of Tsushima. What we did for that one was we gave our non-spoiler thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima, where we went into great detail about how we feel about the graphics and the gameplay and that kind of stuff, and then the early parts of the story was the only spoiler stuff we went into. This one, however, because we played the whole game, we're going to be talking about the whole game right from the beginning. It's going to be a spoiler-filled discussion, so we are not going to be saying up to this point, because otherwise we would just be stopping ourselves from saying what we really want to say, and also we'd just be repeating ourselves in terms of, well, the non-spoiler stuff is the gameplay and the graphics, right? We might still talk about those things as it went on, because there might be certain moments that happen later in the game that we want to bring up, but this is spoiler-filled discussion the whole way through. So hopefully you have at least played the game, you're familiar with the game, or you don't care and you just want the three guys talk about Ghost of Tsushima in all of its glory. But as you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, you could jump into the comments to let us know what you thought about Ghost of Tsushima and about any of the points that we bring up. You can either disagree with us, agree with us, add more to it, whatever you want to say. And then if you're listening to us on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen to us, you can also get in touch on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Brothers Take. I've also realized I've watched a lot of other people do podcasts, and basically they learn off like an intro of like all the things where you have to like watch them, and then they rattle it off as quick as they possibly can so that they can just get to the shit they want to talk about. And it gets to the point where it's like, I don't even know what you just said. I don't... So you can watch this on this .twitch, or you can also watch this on Patreon, and you're like, what the fuck? So where can I find you? Anyway, I hope I've said it slow enough that if people want to get in touch and want to talk to us, they can. But if you're watching us on YouTube, there's always reminders down below. And if you're listening to us, I just pointed at the bottom of the screen. So crack on that. There's actually going to be like a running commentary for this whole episode of describing what we're actually doing. It's a radio play. No, I'm joking. So let's talk Ghost of Tsushima. Where to begin at this point? At this point, we should talk.
Tell him about that.
Well, yeah,
trophy.
tell me about the trophy.
Oh yeah, tell us about the trophy.
Okay, so I think the one you're talking about is you have to kick a Mongol and he dies from the fall.
Yes.
That's
That's
it.
it. That's all you have to do.
They
So-
describe it so weirdly then.
No, that's exactly how it's described, I think.
Oh.
So that was actually
I take it back.
that was actually one of the last ones I had to do. And it's actually easier to do that before liberating everything. So I was lucky enough that I had 2 camps left. I just found a camp that had an archer posted on a tower.
Yeah.
Climbed the tower, wind stance, kick him off, he falls, he dies. That's it.
Happy days. Out of curiosity, because I haven't liberated all of Tsushima. I will come back to do that, but I haven't done it. Eric, have you done that?
Oh yeah.
You have done that. Okay. So I was going to ask is to tell me and anyone else who maybe hasn't done all of that. Once that's done, is it just like a peaceful run around the island type thing, or is there
No,
more? Is there
I
still
think
guards
there's-
around, or what?
I think there's like a few Mongol patrols, but not a lot. Like
Okay.
it really, the Mongol army has really diminished by the time you've done that. There might be like a few here and there, but nothing really too taxing.
Yeah. Okay, so I suppose we should give before we get into any kind of specifics, we should probably give our general takes. When we did the first impressions, we were all saying pretty much that we were really enjoying the game, enjoying it more than maybe we thought we were going to, and that we were looking forward to seeing more of it, and that's kind of where we were at the time. Having finished it, or at least finished the main campaign, all of us have done that. How do we now feel about the game overall? I'm going to come to you first, Eric, because you were the first out of us to finish it.
So fucking good. So good. So good. Everything I wanted. So good.
Thank you for your input, Eric. No, I'm joking. No, you go further.
Oh, thank you. Can I? True.
Eric, yes, you can.
Well, you asked me how I felt about it, and that's
Yeah,
what I felt about it was that it was so good. It was like at this point, I was kind of getting a little fed up. Like Final Fantasy VII, I really enjoyed the second time I played it, but the first time I was like, right, there was some parts that are quite boring about it, like especially at the start. There's
Right.
a few chapters in Final Fantasy VII which were quite taxing to get through, and then even the first time I played, I was quite disappointed with the end of it. But it's only the second time I played it do I actually have further appreciation for the end of it,
Yeah.
and everything. But there's still those few chapters at the start which are very like, suppose I gotta get through these parts. Suppose I gotta have a whole chapter of this fucking train track or something. Then you have The Last of Us Part 2. Adam is disagreeing with me or something.
You have a watch, right? Yeah. So Adam is like nodding now, and then as soon as he's saying about the Last of Us Part 2, he's going to go.
So Last of Us 2 was more or less most of that game was the train track chapter in Resident Evil 7. Or not Resident Evil 7, Final Fantasy 7. Where it's just like the entire thing was just like, this is such a fucking chore to get through. Why is this game so long? And I am only at the end of day 1. That day took me 3 days to do. For fuck's sake. So I get really fucking annoyed with the games coming out. So when it got to Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, this is what I needed. Open world, Japanese setting version of like The Witcher. It was fucking great. And then just, even though like The Witcher, like loads of arrows and there's lots of stuff, and like the onboarding for it is like really long and taxing and kind of a bit like, and you don't really know what the fuck is going on in it if you don't know anything about The Witcher. But Ghost of Tsushima, it just jumps you straight into it. You're just there. There's the Mongol invasion. You ride into battle. There's the fucking arrows come down. And while the graphics aren't amazing, it's a really interesting artistic style as well to it. And the fucking colors, beautiful. The game's so good.
It's nice to see you this passionate.
That's the most you've ever spoken.
Yeah. Like you normally were really like pulling the shit out of you. We're like, do you actually want to be on a video games discussion based podcast? It's nice to see that passion, Eric. I'm sorry that other games weren't living up to your standards, and happy that Ghost of Tsushima finally did. People should send games to you. Like you should be like a quality tester because you're so fucking harsh. You like really strict standards. Like
No game ever gets a 10. and if you at all drag on, I'll fucking hate you.
It's like I will actually take it personally.
I am offended you're wasting my time with this stuff.
I feel like right now, you are offending me personally. Okay, Adam, your thoughts on the game having finished it?
Yeah, it's a really, really great game. I think it's pretty clear from the first time we spoke about it. Like, it hasn't, my opinion of it hasn't changed. I think that you're right. The bit after Act 2, I think, is probably the highlight for me. Was, when you're riding away, and it's like, your horse is killed and stuff like that. It's not a very cinematic game, but that was a very cinematic moment.
Yeah, it's got its moments for sure. Yeah.
The story is fine. It's serviceable, I think, but I think this type of game, it's more about the surrounding environment and the people in it, and you trying to help people. And what I really love about it is you're trying to help people. You don't actually, the outcome isn't that you don't actually save everyone. Some people actually do end up worse off by you trying to intervene. And I think that's something I don't really see. Like, in most games, you're presented as a hero, and in this one, you're trying to be a hero, but realistically, you're not going to be able to save everyone, and it does present that quite well in this game. And there's even moments where I was like, oh fuck, the outcome I thought was pretty brutal in some of those little side quests. I did feel sorry for the person I was originally trying to help.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend everyone to try and platinum it. Just because I wanted to do everything before doing the last mission. And the reason I suggest doing everything is just because you don't really get anything extra for it. It's not exactly going to help. Well, I suppose you do get to unlock every stance and every ability and stuff, so you are incredibly fit to take on the main mission. But you develop time with all the support cast.
Yeah.
That when they help you, it almost feels like the Avengers coming together kind of thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think if you just storm through the main story, you lose that.
Yeah. Oh no, you should definitely take your time with the side quests and those side characters. I did finish, like, when I say I haven't done everything, it's like I haven't found every, like, fox shrine, that kind of thing.
All right.
I did all the side quests before I did the final story. And then there was a couple of, like, little mini ones that are harder to find. Like, you might find someone in a little fishing hut, and they might say that someone stole something here. Could you find the thieves? Some of those I found after finishing the campaign I didn't know about, but all the big main ones I did. My opinion of the game did change since the last time we talked about it.
I don't like you.
Well, hold on now. I haven't even. You offend me. This whole episode is about offending one another. It's like just so dishonorable. We must duel. But actually, just before I say how I feel about the game now overall, Michael Howland, who's a very good friend and actually very supportive of the series, he checks out a lot of the episodes, but he's not afraid to say how he really feels about something and call us out on some of our shit, right? Which I love.
Okay.
But I ran into him downtown with Andrea and their beautiful baby girl, and he was actually on his way to buy Ghost of Tsushima, having listened to us.
Okay.
Which I just thought was really fucking cool. And also, this episode is sponsored by Sucker Punch. No, I'm joking. But okay, so I just thought that was a cool bit of news. But I like the game even better than when we first talked about it. My admiration for the game only grew. I thought the game got better and better. I thought with each act, I think Act 2 actually is the strongest act in the game. But and then by the time Act 3 came along, it just had that really, like, shit had hit the fan. and I just thought the story got way more compelling from Act 2 onwards. So Act 1 was fine. Act 1 was a really good Ubisoft game that Ubisoft didn't make.
Yeah.
Act 2 onwards was just an incredible game, full stop. And all the stuff had opened up more and more. There was more side quests to do, a wider world. I actually really like that thing as well of the map opening up that way.
Yeah.
Whereas like you have a area that's big enough to explore,
Mm-hmm.
and then a certain story point will take you to a whole new area, but you can still backtrack and the map. Because I know, like, for a lot of people, that's actually, like, some people don't like that. They like to have the map available to them from, like, the
Kind of a callback to the GTA days, you know. It's like I've unlocked this next island kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think like with that style, it depends on the game. So like if you choose like Fallout or Elder Scrolls or something, you should have the whole map straight away. But I think with a very story-driven game, I much prefer the area opening up to you. Like, 'cause one of the things I didn't really like about Marvel Spider-Man was the idea of here's just the whole map. You can just go everywhere at once, and so it's like, okay, and then here's lots of other shit to do, and I'm like, I'm being overwhelmed here. Please stop. Calm down. Give me a moment here to breathe, like. But with Ghost of Tsushima,
You're offending.
You calm down there, Nay.
Calm down.
but with Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, they just slowly, each little, at the end of each act, you go to the next area, and then on top of that, each little side mission or collectible, they introduce true story elements or whatnot. I just think they just paced it so well.
What did you think of the main, like the end of the game, essentially, like taking on Khan? Like, because I think we said in our last episode that we were kind of hoping for, because there's this idea of a coming storm, which is present in the game. Like that's true. Like every time you are doing something, it feels like you are causing the storm nearly. It just adds to the mythos.
More epic as it went on. Yeah.
I was kind of I knew that there was going to end up with a conflict with your uncle.
Yes.
Not because I didn't see it. I could see it kind of.
It was brewing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought then Khan would get away maybe, and the actual conflict would be with. The conflict is not the Mongols. The conflict is your sense of honor, the old way, and moving forward. What needs to be done, and that your uncle represented that. So like be a battle like that way.
It is actually the ninja versus the samurai, isn't it?
Yeah, it is that. But I how did you feel about, like, okay, so Khan was the villain, you end up killing him in the end?
I thought it was fine. I actually didn't. I thought there was parts of the game that were definitely better than that final conflict. I thought that final mission at the start of it definitely just felt like another mission. Mm-hmm. It didn't have any kind of grand weight to it. And then the fight is just a boss fight that I was like on my toes doing it. But I thought it was a good fight though. It was a good fight, but I was also kind of glad it was over as well.
I definitely was, because I was. Man, I thought it was just going to be like the usual duels, which just starts off that way. I'm like, grand, I've got all this resolve to use. I'm going to screw this guy up, and I kind of rushed it a bit, and I used up all my resolve only to find out that wasn't the actual fight.
I did something similar.
So when it came to the actual fight, it's what I really love about that fight, or at least why it worked for me, was that it's the first part in the entire game that I ended up using equipment that I didn't use for the entirety of the game. Like sticky bombs. I played the whole game without using them, and I had to use them in that fight because I had nothing left.
No, I started using those kind of tools as well.
Yeah, so it forced me, because I kept running out of ammo and stuff. It forced me to start using my utility that I haven't used at all. And I was like, this is so cool, because it's I can't think of another game like that where it forces you to have to use everything what you should have learned at that point. Yeah, there are definitely games like that, but I just can't think of one right now. But I'm actually raging I didn't use it.
In you saying that, I am reminded of and like earlier on, we were off recording now, but earlier on we were talking about Batman, so I don't want to harken on about it too much. But I am reminded of the Mr. Freeze fight, where it was
it's like that.
It's like it's exam time now. It's like, have you been paying attention? You now must utilize. You can't just bash your way out of this. You have to use the things that we've taught you how to use.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. Eric, how did you feel about the final fight?
I wouldn't really call that the final fight,
I hear you.
but I understand it's the final fight with Khotun Khan.
It's kind of the final Mongol conflict, right?
It's the final Mongol conflict, and I thought it was really cool. The storm was brewing, and all all your allies were fighting. Even your uncle, who pretty much at this point disowned you, has come to help you. You know, he's putting his you're putting your differences aside to fight and take on the final fort of the Mongols. But the actual fight with Khotun Khan, I thought, was really underwhelming. Even after you do the duel, you defeat him, then you fight him on the ship, and there was all the other. And it just felt like such a typical last boss. Here's all the different enemies, and look, the boss is able to. He has a spear first, and then he's got a sword, and then he's got a sword and shield. Then he ignites his sword, and it's like, oh yeah, like yes, it is a bit like. Yeah, have you been paying attention? But it's not as creative as the Mr. Freeze fight from Arkham City.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a bit like this is a typical last boss fight, and I was a bit underwhelmed by it. So when you do the other last boss, I was this is the ending I want, and this was great.
Well, then let's segue on to that. Then the final boss fight, I suppose, is actually a fight with your uncle, which in a way was also the first boss fight in the game, which you didn't have to win. But remember, there's a training flashback of your first duel ever in the game is with your uncle, and now it's the actual final fight. What did you think about it? And then I'm curious as well as to what you chose. And because this is spoiler filled, obviously we will talk about what ending we got. I've only played it once, so I don't know what the other ending is like. But yeah.
I've only played it once, so I have no idea what the other ending. So it was like
I just sorry before we get to it, like I will come back and play this game again. I would say it's just that it's so long and there's a lot to do in it that I need a break from it for a while.
Is there a new game plus?
No, unfortunately there
I
isn't.
hope they add it. But we should definitely play
that
multiplayer when it comes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The multiplayer. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well in a while. But so Eric, since you brought it up, we'll come to you first. The boss fight with your uncle.
Yeah, it's what it was like. This is the last, but this is what it needed at the end. The emotional music, fighting in front of your father's grave after writing a haiku as well. And it was like, this is fucking beautiful. And they had the red and yellow leaves coming down, like
Did you cry?
Huh?
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry actually. Surprisingly,
did you cry with the horse?
I actually no, I did. I don't think I cried at all during this game. Yeah, the horse was brutal as well. But yeah, fighting him and killing him was great. Actually, I might have slightly watered up. Maybe it's so good. And
did you kill him?
I killed him at the end because that's what he wanted, and I was like, I'll honor my. Well, it's not my uncle, but I'll honor his uncle by killing him.
Yeah. Okay, Adam, how did you feel about the fight, and then what did you choose?
I was a little worried about the fight. I never really liked the duels. I liked watching people do them. They're so cool in terms of their presentation, but for some reason I just was so shit at them. I don't know why. I just really really bad at doing them. And when you lose, I find sometimes it's pretty brutal because it removed whatever resolve I had and whatever I used. I don't have that on the second time. So it's just I found it pretty brutal, and some of them were really difficult to get through. Luckily, that one wasn't as hard as some of the other duels I did.
Yeah.
So it was still challenging. So to add to the kind of cinematic theme of it all, but it was a cool fight. And then at the end, I decided to let him live with it.
Oh my god, what's that like?
Absolute bastard.
I'll give it away now. I also killed him because I felt that it's what he wanted, and in that moment I was like, I think I've kind of brought him so much shame in doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, but I need to kind of give him one last piece of honor. But so, okay, since this is spoiler filled, and it's no point in me playing the whole thing just to see what happens.
I have to try and remember now.
What happens when you let him live?
As far as I know, he just walks up the stairs basically, and he kind of gives him a look a little bit, and then he continues to walk up the stairs. I think. He doesn't actually say really anything apart from I think he mentioned something about the Shogun, how it will continue to hunt them down and all this kind of stuff. But he really just leaves him there and just walks, like up the steps.
Right.
But the reason I chose that was because
He killed
I
your
felt
horse.
that Jin, especially considering I went on all those different paths, like I did all these different side quests. Like it took ages. Obviously, it's been a long time since we talked about it initially, so it took me a while before I ended up doing the main mission. The journey that Jin went on from me changed him so much that doesn't believe in that code of honor anymore, and that he would he values life now over honor.
Yeah.
So he would rather have the opportunity, even as an enemy, to be able to see his uncle again, and that's why he wouldn't kill him, which is why I left him alive.
I think the great thing is that the story is set up in such a way that either of the endings are totally plausible,
Yeah.
and none of them feel like the Renegade or the Paragon option. I don't think.
No, yeah.
I think they just both feel very natural depending on what your take on Jin's experience was. I did kill him. I kind of felt like at that point it's what he asked for, and also I was like, this rivalry is just going to live on. Like I felt like at this point there's no coming back. There's no going back to any kind of like being friends or anything like that. The fight itself I thought was great. I actually I agree with both of you in that I am terrible at the duels, but I really enjoy them. I'm not great at them. I always basically just got through them by the skin of my teeth. But in that sense, I found it kind of like exciting, or my heart would be pounding. And by the time when I won, I was like, fuck yeah, thank God I got through that. And I did think, the setting and the music and the leaves and in front of that tree and the setup to it. Doing the haiku, one last haiku before taking on your uncle.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of like them both taking, like, no one was stabbing each other in the back. It was very much we are going to face each other. I think that was another reason why I killed him. I think because it was like this is my last day as a samurai. After today, I am no longer. I'm letting that go. It's dying with my uncle, kind of a thing. It was sort of the way I saw it.
It's really poetic, which is what I like about it as well. It's like just the whole setting to it and the meanings behind it is really poetic. But I have a question. What color was your armor, Adam, when you cleared it? When you wake up in your hut afterwards, you have your little your flags
and it's like a montage of all the stuff you've done.
Yeah. So what color was your armor?
Because it's ghost armor, isn't it?
So yeah, it's just a different color to ghost armor.
Red.
Ooh.
Cool.
Cool.
Ours wasn't.
Yeah, ours was not.
Oh, what was yours?
White.
Yeah. I was gonna not tell you and just make you play the game, but yeah, white.
So is that based on your choice at the end then?
That's based on your choice.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, white or red. And I wonder and those are the two colors of the Japanese flag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, is there some meaning? Like, does the color white have some significance, and does the color red have some significance?
Yeah, I don't know.
It is interesting. That's cool. I did kind of figure that because I woke up in this different color costume, I did kind of figure that the other ending, because I didn't have this before, the other ending must be a different color.
Yeah.
There must be something for doing the different ending.
This is like there's not many games where I care about like vanity gear and stuff like that, but this and Spider-Man are like the only two games where I'm like I really want to get a new outfit and just see how it looks. And
I would say this one more so.
Yeah.
I cared so much about crafting how my guy looked.
Mm.
And I really I never give a fuck about skins or how a character looks that much, as long as they don't look stupid.
Yeah.
You know? Like to the point where it's like, I don't even want to play as this character. They look ridiculous. But this game I got really sucked into getting new hats and changing the going to see the different people who dye your clothes, whether it's the black dye merchant or the white dye merchant, and I fucking love that shit.
And the different katanas just on the shrines, like they all look so cool.
They're sick.
Yeah.
I suppose last time we were kind of talking about Jin Sakai as a character, and obviously we were talking about up to Act 1. So in general, it was like, yeah, he's fine. He's grand. We don't hate him, but he's grand. now having finished it, how do we feel about Jin Sakai as a character?
I'm pretty sure when we were first talking about it, I think I cleared it, or I was really far into it.
I think you were on Act 3, but you hadn't kind of told us that. But I don't think you'd cleared it yet.
Yeah, no, but I just remember because I was seeing how the character, like, you were like, oh, the character's fine, I suppose. He's all honorable, he's samurai, and I was like, like, wait till you get this act.
Yeah, because
two,
there's some acting in this game, isn't there?
there's
there's a little bit of acting in this game.
No, again, like I must say, I think if anyone was playing this game and kind of judging it on Act 1, Act 1 is a good game, but it does not reach the heights of Act 2 onwards. Act 2 onwards is a great game. And I think Jin Sakai, actually, I really like him. I think he became a great character. I really like him. I thought he was awesome. I even got to the point where I was like even early on, I thought the acting was like a little wooden, or like a little bit kind of like, well, we wanted to feel like he could be anyone, so we'll keep it But actually, it was him kind of restraining himself, and you see it come out more and more. And later on, you realize, like, he's a great character. The guy who's playing him is doing a great job. The acting is actually really fucking good. I thought so.
Yeah.
And,
so him as a character and watching him evolve, and like, because you're playing as him and all the choices, you really do actually understand where he's coming from. And so therefore, when he's like really disagreeing with his uncle and all the other samurai, it's like, you're like, yeah, I know why he's disagreeing, like, because you can't fight the Mongols head on. They don't fight the same way. They use shields and they ignite their swords, and they've, you know what I mean? Like, they fight brutal, so I have to fight brutal too. So
I actually, as well, I like, it's the best samurai game I've ever played. Not that I've played many, but it is of any of the ones that I have played, a touch on it. It's the best one I've played, and it's the best ninja game I've ever played. The path of going from samurai to ninja and capturing both cultures and both kind of stories, and even the kind of what a ninja actually is, and the Hollywood ninja,
Yeah, I really appreciate that about it. It's like, you can, if you want to kind of make him look like a Hollywood style ninja, then you can. But the fact that there's no strict gear that you have to wear, you can be a much more traditional style ninja if you wish. It's a really, like, it is a bit weird, like, when you get to the end and you do kill Khan and you realize actually this is quite an alternate game, and it's so loose, it's not a historical game at all.
No.
So its representation of Japan and stuff like that, and the era and the type of katana and stuff like that, like, you kind of have to just, like, forget that this is not accurate. This is stylized.
Yeah.
But there's still a sense of it that feels authentic.
See, in that sense, and I did say this when we did the first impressions, like, I like the Khoten Khan villain in terms of how he's portrayed and some of the stuff he does, and even later on, like, I think that bit when you're tied up and Taka is there with you as well.
That's the moment where I was like,
is great.
The acting in that is so good.
Yeah, it was really good. Moment. And just when he was like, I'll keep bringing people out here to kill until you give up, like, and I was like, fuck, I believe him. I believe he's going to do that. I'm sitting there and screaming. But I do wish he wasn't Khoten Khan.
Yeah.
And even knowing that
the sequel is going to be like the Shogun, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That the heights that this can go to now is like, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be the Ghost of Japan.
You know what's weird? Do you know what's weird about this? Do you know what's weird about this is, I fucking love this game. It's an incredible game. I'm not that excited for a sequel.
I'm not excited for a sequel, but I think if they do, I can see them making one.
Absolutely.
I think it will be good. I don't think they can, like, I think it will be game 3 or 4 where this starts to kind of lose its magic. But I think they have the potential, like, especially with certain characters like Tomoe, like, where did she go to? Perhaps do you come across her again?
I love her.
Yeah, so there's the opportunity to kind of revisit characters, but the enemies will be different now because your enemy will be samurai.
Yeah, I hope that if they do a sequel, it's sequel in gameplay and stylization, but not location or characters. Now they're not going to
location.
No, well, yeah, they probably will do that, but it's just like because of like something like Shadow of Mordor, which then became Shadow of War, which was just so like,
Yeah.
why did you do that? Like Middle Earth is such a large area, fucking stay out of Mordor and go somewhere else, and
Yeah.
you'd have more. So that's kind of the thing is like you have such a large world that you could do like yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, then you could do Ghost of Sparta, then you could do Ghost of Persia, and then you could do like there's so many areas you can go to, and every area has had like a stealthy assassin-ish, ninja-ish style character. That
Right.
and
Okay.
like
My
I
only
think,
worry about that is I get you. I actually hear what both of you are saying. I do think that they will do a sequel. I do think it'll be really good. I actually think they will carry on with Jin Sakai.
I do think.
Because I think they're going to turn him into sort of an iconic hero. Yeah, I would be as cool as it would be to see these guys tackle other eras and stuff in other places. I would just be worried about that becoming another Assassin's Creed.
No, I think it will be Jin. Yeah, definitely.
I do as well.
And
I do as well.
I think I know what you're saying, Eric. Like you're worried about the map getting big, but the thing is Japan is made up of islands, so it's not like it would be the
No, I was-
entirety of Japan.
more worried about
so we
them
could see
taking
an
taking
we
a
could
dump.
see another island. You see, outside of Tsushima, which would have a whole different look to it. It would be like bigger cities, nearly. You know what I mean? Like you could have that, and now you're going way more rooftop urban and all that shit. Your environment would be changing. Your enemy is going to be different, obviously, because you're going against the Shogun. I think it has great potential. I think game 3, 4, like I said, I think that's where it could fall off as a series. But
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
they
don't
could
get me
do
wrong.
great
If
things.
once they announce a sequel, I'm excited. I'm pre-ordering. You know that kind of way. Like but also, it wasn't like there's some games or franchises where I'm like straight away I want the sequel. When I
Yeah.
finish Final Fantasy
Give
VII
it to me
remake,
now.
I just want to keep playing. I want the next one. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, I can actually like as amazing as it was, I can comfortably wait for the sequel.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
Kind of like God of War.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, incredible game.
Yeah.
We gave a game of the year that year for us personally, and I think
Yeah.
it was anyway. But yeah, I know a sequel's coming. I can comfortably wait for it. I'm not like anxiously like I need it. Whereas there's some games that even if they're not like they might not even be of the same quality, but there's just something about them where it's like I want the next one and I want it now.
Yeah.
You know that way. It was same with Last of Us. Where it's like we
Yeah,
all knew a sequel was coming.
Yeah.
Right? And we all knew The Last of Us was one of the greatest games ever made. But again, it was like, I can wait. I can really wait for that kind of experience because it's a slow. I'm going to take my time with it. It's not a. It's not like a MCU trill train.
It's a full package in a game
Yeah,
without it kind of saying, oh yeah, like till next time kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like this has a full story arc.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a trilogy in one, really. You know that way, like the
Yeah.
3-act structure is pretty much like a trilogy in one. We're giving it a lot of praise. Are there any critiques? Are there any negatives that you guys have about this game?
Yeah, there is actually. I trying to think what I did have something as I was playing it. Like there was something that came up. So Eric, you can go first and let me think.
Eric's going, no, I have none. It's perfect. If I did give 10s out of 10s, it would get one, but I don't.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, critique. You don't get to keep the fox. You don't actually get to have a pet fox. I wish the fox followed you the whole time. That'd be awesome. That's
that
my
it?
critique. That's gonna be my critique. I think like another thing was like some of the haikus were a bit shit. Like there was definitely a haiku. There's definitely a haiku. It's on the second province in the western section, right?
I know
Of
it
that.
well.
Yeah, and it's like by a hut overlooking the ocean. It's a lovely little area there. You should go there sometime.
Yeah.
But
Visit
What?
Tsushima.
yeah, while you're writing about it, he's like I don't know, like one of the options was like broken logs or like pot full of water, and it's like, what are you on? Like, what are you on about? What?
Yeah, but in fairness, haikus are really, really strict. Like,
No,
you know,
I know.
they-
I
you know.
get that. I get
Yeah.
that. Like haikus often, when they end, feel like there should be another line here. This
Yeah,
doesn't
there
make sense.
I
They don't-
actually don't particularly like haikus. I never did. Like I remember playing Cards Against Humanity, and one of the rules was to win you have to form a haiku, and I'd usually go, I don't care enough. so I'll just lose. It's like I just don't care enough. But some people love them.
But a lot of the haikus were like, you know, I mean, you look at a tree and you would talk about like growing to new heights. Yeah, the tree grows to new heights, sure, but there's like it's a reflecting on yourself or reflecting on the people.
Yeah,
but something
pile of
like
logs.
You know.
pot full of water. You sound like somebody who just can't speak English. Just trying to form a fucking sentence.
Well, Eric, I think in university you probably can't.
No, okay. Poor choice of words.
Speak, Japanese, maybe.
Okay, poor choice of words. But you know, like it's like as if he can't speak that language and he's trying to form that language together. So he's just doing like a broken.
Hey, you know what? Following your idea, I'm very excited when they do Ghost of Ireland and you're forming limericks.
Man, that'd be class.
Like just using a
touch me,
power
I'm
and
from
slogging schlitters, that fella's like.
I stab you. Anyway.
Okay.
Some of the haikus weren't to your fancy then.
Is that the only critique then? Just some of the haikus. I do agree with you. Some of the haikus are like a bit poorly, like they can be poorly formed. Where you're like, really, there's like of the.
They're so minor though, you know.
No, I know. If you really want to nitpick, I do agree that some of them you are like. I mean, only one of the options here is actually in any way decent, so that's the one everyone's going to pick. But I still really appreciate that haikus were a thing in it, and I think they actually did it in a nice way.
Okay. Well, I suppose again. One critique was the last fight with Cutting Khan. I thought it was very underwhelming.
Okay.
For the fact that I absolutely hated this villain by the end of it, and he was built up so well. That was like for the last fight, it wasn't as cinematic as what it would have been.
In a good way, like where you're like, oh my, I want to kill this villain. Like he's actually.
Yeah, because it's like he burns Master Adachi at the start of the game. What's her name? What's the wife's name? Your one who's the skilled. What's her name? Miss Adachi? Lady Adachi? What's her name again?
Masako? No?
Masako.
Yeah, Lady Masako?
Yeah, he burns her husband at the start of it, and then they slaughter her sons, and then he kills, oh my god, this is really bad. Taka, thank you very much. I knew it was
in fairness, the names are really hard to remember, I think.
Oh, well, I suppose...
It's a very long time since I played it.
Well, we just wouldn't use them on a daily basis, you know what I mean? I am kind of happy, though, that they are names that I have seen before in other games, so they must be popular Japanese names, you know, like Yuna, Taka, Jin, these are all names I have actually seen used before in more than one property. Yeah, thank you, Tekken, for Jin. No, I've seen Jin a lot. But as well, remember it was in Lost.
Jin was in Lost.
I don't know where is that name actually from then? Because that character was Korean.
That side of the world.
Just I suppose it's like, where's Mary from? Like, is it English, Irish, or is it actually Hebrew? You know. You know. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's just that part of the world. Okay, is that your only critiques, Eric?
I mean, I don't really have any. The game is
that's great.
flawless.
I'm so happy for you.
I mean, they could do with your beard growing. I'm just saying, his beard never grows, and he's there for a long time. A lot of days pass by, and his beard never. Like, the only thing they could do with that.
At that point, like, you're literally going, there's not enough hair on his legs when he gets naked and walks into the springs to.
You know what? I don't remember him ever shaving. No, so he's like a Gillette.
Bullshit. Okay.
I don't think this game is historically accurate.
Something tells me it's not realistic. Adam, have you got any critiques about the game?
Yeah, I do remember one when I was playing it, so I don't know if I can recall, but the few that stood out to me were things like there is animation clipping I found, especially when you pet the foxes. There's like this weird little kind of slight glitch where when you bend down, your feet actually go down through the ground, and then when you stand back up, they're still through the ground, and then he kind of pops back up slightly.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times.
So there's a few kind of things like that, which I think they'll patch, but not a deal breaker. But I just think like at this stage, that kind of fidelity should be kind of cleared up, where you're like, even if you're standing on a ledge, kind of, you're not like kind of standing on nothing.
Yeah.
Another thing is there are certain areas I went to that I couldn't, like a lighthouse, for example. I went to a lighthouse and I couldn't light it because it's like you can only do that after a certain mission, because supposedly this place that has Mongols in it. But when I went there was the tents and stuff like that, but there is no Mongols. It's all empty. I couldn't light it either. It's actually, you can't light it until you defeat Khotun Khan. Actually, that's that lighthouse. And I was like, this is a bit silly because I'm here. I should be able to just light it.
Yeah.
And it's silly that there is no Mongols in this huge village. And I know there's going to be one because it's like surrounding it is the poison dart flowers.
Yeah, right. So it's set up for gameplay, right?
Yeah, I was almost able to scope out that entire area and plan out a mission I know is going to come, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a little silly, and that happened a few times with me.
I thought you were talking about the one. I think it's in Act 1. You're doing a mission with the Ronin, and like you have to light a lighthouse, you kill the enemies, and then there's Mongols down in the tent. And I remember going there before, not being able to. Did light the lighthouse. But then when I did the mission, they told me to relight the lighthouse, and the lighthouse was out. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought to myself when I did that first time, I was like, I shouldn't have been able to light the lighthouse if that's part of the mission.
Yeah, if it's part of the mission, yeah. But I like, what I thought was weird is, like, even when I do the mission finally, when I get to go to this lighthouse, Yuna actually says, don't light the lighthouse yet. The Mongols need to be driven out of the area. And I'm like, this is really weird. And why give me a lighthouse mission only to tell me I can't light it till I do the next mission? It was that kind of thing I thought was really, really odd. And then the only other thing that I thought was a little poor was the kind of grappling hook.
I actually enjoyed that.
There's if you're have you climbed to any top of the towers or anything like that? Like,
yeah, like I've done those. I've done quite a lot of those temples because I thought they were really cool challenges. Yeah.
So I think you should be able. No, not
the shrines. I mean, the shrines. Yeah.
No, but if you go to, like, let's say Golden, is it like the Golden Forest Temple?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know where there's like those kind of tall towers that have like this multi-roof kind of?
Yeah, you can climb up.
You can climb up them with your grappling hook. But getting back down them, I just find it so irritating that, okay, you press R2 and then you have to get off. Then press R2 and then get off. Then press R2 and then get off. I just think they could have streamlined that, like going from one to the next kind of thing. Very minor, and I could see in the sequel all that improved dramatically.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, just little things like that where I'm just like, yeah, they could have.
Sure, in the sequel, you'll probably have a grappling gun and like a cape and some batarangs.
Yeah, man.
Because like throughout the whole game, I am absolutely Japanese Batman right now. It's class because you're a vigilante. You're a vigilante in it.
Yeah, you pretty much are. And I'll talk about that as well.
Even the plot, Kotal Khan is going to sail to mainland Japan and poison everyone with hallucinogenic drugs, and it's like, all right, Scarecrow, class.
Yeah,
Batman right now.
It's pretty much a Batman game set in Japan. It's great. The only thing I don't like about the game, I suppose, like there was those little minor things, like little small glitches from time to time or that kind of thing, but nothing major. Jesus, nothing game breaky in any kind of way. But I think for me it was just like the pacing very early on, or that it took a bit of time for me to really get into it. And I don't know if that's just me or if it is the way the game was laid out. But honestly, once that game like kicked in, I was just hooked, and I just kept wanting to play, and I kept wanting to do side missions. I really want, like, any kind of little quest I could take on for people I wanted to do. I wanted to keep grow the legend of the ghost. I loved seeing when your legend grows and it gives you a new nickname and everything. I fucking loved all that shit. So my only critique is that I do think the game is a bit slow at the start. It's not an immediate hook, but once it does hook you, I think it's
I think it actually does have quite a poor beginning, that whole beach raid thing. I don't think that's a great start to the game, personally.
I think it was a fine start to the game until you see the strengths. That it's really weird because with a lot of games, the start is sometimes the best part, and then it runs off the mill a little bit, and then it picks up maybe again towards the end or whatever. And with this one, it genuinely, I don't know whether they made the game backwards, like Memento style or something, because at times it feels like a different game in terms of quality. Like the start of it is fine. Like it's fine for any game. It's a good start. But when you get to the heights of where this game goes, I feel like actually that starts pretty mediocre in comparison to where this game went.
I wasn't mad on like at all until when it opens up and you get you're riding through the long grass and he's like putting his hand down to feel it, and then the title Ghost of Tsushima comes up.
Yeah.
Like that onwards is so fucking good because I immediately ended up following a golden bird, and I kind of like it all just like kind of showed me everything that the game is at that moment. Like I didn't even go off to do the main mission. I went off to do all like just what's over here and what's over there and stuff like that. Like it kind of became Breath of the Wild for me. But the beginning, I was just like, I don't know about this.
Yeah. See, again, like, for me, it took even like I love that title sequence, but even for it took even longer than that, even for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But once I got into it, I got really into it.
The bit when you're riding out into the long grass with the opening sequence is not as good when you're doing it in black and white. Just kind of let you.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, the black and white feature is a really cool feature, but I do think you'll miss out on a lot of the beauty of the game if you play it that way. That's definitely a second playthrough kind of thing, or just a couple of bits.
I hope they do New Game Plus because I would love to play the whole game in like with everything I have, just so I can get through it all.
Yeah.
In that mode.
That mode, I would as well.
With the Japanese voice acting.
Yeah, it'd be sick, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would like. I think New Game Plus.
It doesn't. The lip syncing is a bit weird because I second playthrough. Yeah. I put in the Kurosawa mode, so it's black and white with the Japanese voice acting. But because all it's animated for speaking English, it doesn't lip sync right.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. And then on top of that, you miss the colors. You miss the bright. It's like when you're watching the Black and Chrome of Mad Max.
Yeah, that's an awesome version.
It's an awesome version, but you do miss the vivid colors.
I love actually that the Akira Kurosawa mode comes into the game regardless when you do the ghost dance.
Yep.
Which we didn't talk about last time because it was all the Act 1 stuff. And we hadn't, well, Eric obviously had unlocked it because he was further on, but me and you, Adam, had not unlocked it yet. And fuck me, at first I thought that was just a cool cinematic moment. And then when that becomes a thing, like kind of like a devil trigger, so to speak. I always called those kinds of things devil triggers because I first saw them in Devil May Cry, but lots like God of War has its own version of it, and lots of other games do too. But your ghost dance there is so sick. I fucking loved using it. I never got sick of it. I thought it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, and then I always kind of like it became part of my arsenal when I'm trying to, let's say, like free a farm. Like you're trying to free prisoners from a farm. And you're like scoping it out, and I'm like, okay, if I take that guy out with this, and then that guy out with that, and then I build up enough for ghost dance to be able to take out the next tree, and it became a weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I must say, that's something I didn't particularly like about the game was those bits where you're trying to defend someone, like a villager, and if they get killed, you got to do it. I in games in general, I don't like those bits. I just don't.
You just gotta do it good, man.
No, I know, but it's just like it good. There was quite a lot of them, and that bit.
Yeah, there was. I got to a point with me though where there's like, I had it nailed down. Like I had my technique, so to speak, that I never got caught at that point, and they were fine. At the beginning, I did find them kind of tough, and I had to repeat them a few times. But I do like that there is a point in the game where you just become an absolute badass, and no one can take you on.
Yeah.
And even people start to run away from you in fear.
Yeah, I love that. And it's weird because you would think that what you want is more and more challenges, but actually it's that weird thing of like, Eric, you drew a comparison of Batman, and I did find some parallels as the game went on for me personally.
It makes you feel like a samurai.
It does though give you that feeling of everyone's afraid of me and that's cool, as opposed to the thing of like I want to be challenged. It's like this is strangely not boring, even though I'm never losing right now. I'm like constantly winning.
Yeah,
I love winning.
But it's just one of those things where when you're playing as one of these iconic warriors, that are known for their skill and their speed and their victories, if you're dying all the time, you don't feel like them, and therefore it takes you. It
breaks
almost
the immersion.
it breaks the immersion, takes you out of it. Like, so when you're Batman and you're losing all the time, it's like, well, I'm not being Batman. Batman never loses. If I'm being the Ghost of Tsushima or a samurai or a ninja who are known for taking on 12 people at once, I don't know how to do it. Their sword must be really long, but they kill them all at once.
Right.
And if you're losing all the time, you don't feel like that awesome samurai that you grew up knowing.
Yeah.
But it does take you a bit to get there, because there was a bit in the second act, I think. I came across a Mongol village, and the game actually does straight up warn me, saying, you're not ready for this. And I was like,
I like that.
Sure,
I
of course I
appreciate
am. I went in, I got slaughtered.
Yeah.
But then it was great. Then when I was getting near to the game, I went back there, and they didn't stand a chance.
Because we were talking about some negatives, but on the positive flip side, then hey Eric,
Yeah, were we?
What's your
We're
slight small negatives, but what is your favorite part of the game, or what's your favorite aspect of the game? What's your favorite thing about this game? This will be particularly tough now, Eric, because you actually love this game. It's really nice. It's really refreshing. Gotta say. Gotta say. It's really nice.
How close to that 10 is
You
it?
know what? My favorite part is the smithing. I love smithing and crafting.
No, I'm not accepting that bullshit answer from you. I know that's not true.
Oh, God.
By the way, just so you know, this is the first of a series of lineup of favorite questions that I've got coming your way. There's a few things I want to ask.
It's gonna be like, what's your favorite fox then? Then what's your favorite fucking haiku? What's your favorite one crime? What's your favorite straw hat that you found in the wild?
What is your favorite straw hat?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I do have one, and it's because I wear it quite a lot.
The black
the
one?
Ronin one.
Yeah, I think it's the black one. I don't think I think it's called.
For me, it's the actual Ronin straw one.
Oh, the Ronin straw one. For me, I think it was.
No, Ronin.
It's called.
Kenji one. The
Is it
Kensei. The Kensei, the
Kensei one.
kind of just the ordinary straw Kensei outfit. It's awesome.
I like the upgrade from that where it looks like almost like a steel, like black steel that you wear. Yeah, I love
that's
that
one
one.
I wear, and it's got one little small symbol on it or something.
No, that's slightly straw and it's black.
Okay,
That one's cool.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I wore that for most of the game, and I also wore like a face wrap thing.
I had my face mask was like almost like a skull, but it was slightly kind of damaged, so it looked like the jaw was slightly hanging off it.
Ah, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the cosmetics are actually great, and I think.
I ended up almost looking like Yoshimitsu basically
Nice.
from Tekken 3.
Nice.
Yeah, best version of Yoshimitsu too.
Nice.
You better believe it, folks.
Favorite
thing
thing
about the game.
Fucking game.
Well, it comes to Adam first.
Yeah, go to Adam first.
What? Adam, what about you then?
The presentation,
Mm.
the colors, the physics in the grass, the wind, all of that. It's such a stunning game. Because I actually like kind of deconstructing it. This game doesn't do much new apart from its presentation, I think.
Right.
Because I feel like we've done a lot before. Maybe the combat and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty fresh. Like the stance
It is a
changing.
bit, but it also feels like it's definitely. I think what it does in terms of gameplay is it masters things that have been shown in other games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just.
Yeah, it does it well.
Does
It
it
doesn't
all
feel
really
like
well.
a rip-off or anything like that.
No,
It just
not at
feels like an evolution of this kind of genre. But its presentation, I think, sets it apart from every other game out there.
Yeah.
You just know that when you come across another game that's going to use wind as a guiding system, it's going to be compared to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
I don't think it's the first to do it, but it's kind of.
It's done it so well.
Yeah.
And it owned it, I think. It really owned it. Yeah. Okay, Eric.
Okay. Because
Ready?
of Adam's broad anser.
Yeah, it
I'm
could be
gonna-
broad. That's what I say. Your favorite thing about the game.
All right.
The game itself.
The game itself is my favorite thing about the game.
Oh,
Its
There.
install size is nice.
it's tasty.
Yeah.
It's really
Like, this
sweet.
game is
the disc is really nice.
it's a
Nice
huge game,
disc.
right? No, but seriously though, this is a big
Curvature.
game,
Yeah, it is.
and
It's huge.
it's got
I really appreciate like the loading and the fast travel.
the fast travel. Oh, fucking
Oh,
hell.
it's
Actual
so quick
fast
to
travel.
load.
It's so
Basically,
quick.
install this game and you have an SSD essentially.
It's like Skyrim on acid. Like, it's just fucking like, there we go.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. Go on,
In
Eric.
all honesty,
All
in all honesty, apart from the whole game being amazing and the install size and the curvature of the disc being great, the actually, because I can't remember, one of yous compared it to having the Avengers, but gathering everyone and then watching their journey grow as though it's like their own movie.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean, like, so you always do like a particular set of their quests in Act 1. That's the first movie. Then you do another set in Act 2. That's the second movie. And then you do the last one in Act 3, and that's the third movie. And then you have Infinity War and Endgame. Right? So, yeah.
Right,
So,
okay.
like, watching these characters grow and you're growing with them and collecting them, and then they come to help you. So they even though two of them are samurai, I know one's a thief. So one of them's a thief. She's very lackadaisy. She'll do whatever the hell she wants. One is a monk, and you watch as he just becomes something
that's
else.
such a good story.
The end of his story
Yeah.
took such a turn where like
Yeah.
he was like I even loved the monk who was with him who like refuses to kill and would help
Yeah.
the Mongols, and there was such interesting shit there. Like I love those stories, but the end of his fucking quest was so unexpectedly dark.
Because it
when
was
he-
so boring up until then.
Yeah, like I was like, of all of the like big side quests, he's my least favorite. And then I
Yeah.
got to that end, I went, his one ended the best. It did though. Like the other ones ended fine,
Yeah.
but I was like, what? What happened to you, man? You're so fucked up. It's
Yeah.
brilliant, really good.
What I
Really
really
good.
love about those side quests actually is that, like, realistically, Jin in any other game, Jin learns something from the characters he would help, right?
Right.
But he ended up kind of, in order to
Teaching
better
them.
himself. Yeah, exactly. He was teaching them how this is how you should behave, kind of thing, or this is how I would have tackled this kind of situation and all this kind of stuff. And realistically, he was actually kind of criticizing his own way, but by teaching them essentially.
Yeah.
It was such a really clever way of doing that, like, character progression.
Yeah. For me, my favorite part of the game was when I kind of realized or came to the realization that
The game was good.
No, not just that as well, yeah. But what the game really was like I loved those mythic quests, right?
Oh
You
man.
sit down and you
Ah,
learn this
yeah.
awesome story, and then you go and do a thing or whatever. And it turns out that it's kind of grounded in reality, really. Like, and when I realized that that's what this game is, you are playing the origins of a mythic quest. And I went, this is an origin story for a Japanese superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, this game is fucking amazing. And yes, Eric, you touched on it as well. He is a vigilante. He's becoming a vigilante, the Ghost of Tsushima, and he's using all these, and he's going outside the law. And as soon as the law were
Wearing a
chasing him,
mask.
yeah, wearing a mask, and the law were chasing him then because he's working outside the law and going against the code and everything. But he's doing what needs to be done to bring down the criminals and the scum. I was like, this is Japanese Batman. This is fucking awesome. But it was sick. Like I just think if for any reason in the sequel they decide to change the character, it would be so cool as like a side mythic quests if you have to like find gear that belonged to Jin. And there's all these stories about Jin, but they talk about him as a supernatural force. That would be like if they decide to change the character, that would be fucking cool.
Which
Yeah,
one was your favorite mythic quest?
Of the mythic quests, I think it was the first one I did. I think the heavenly, was it the heavenly sword? Is that what's called?
Heavenly Strike. Yeah.
Heavenly strike.
That's definitely the best.
It is the best. Like I like the other ones. I really like the one. I had to actually look at a walkthrough, to be honest, figure out how to get up that mountain to get the flame sword.
Oh right, okay.
Right. I did think that was cool.
The
I thought-
7,000 steps mission.
Yeah. I thought what I thought was really cool that it was like a meteor came and they actually like scraped the blade and it goes on fire. But they talk about it as this magic that came from the gods. Like that stuff is so fucking cool. But the Heavenly Strike one, it was the first one I did, and it just blew my mind. And being in the middle of that ring of swords everywhere, which were conducting the lightning, I was like, this is fucking incredible. And it was my first duel as well. So it was the first time I saw that thing where like the camera turns and they flip the sword out, and I was like, this is so cinematic. This is fucking amazing. Yeah, so that one.
That's definitely the best.
Say for all of us, yeah.
Oh yeah, Heavenly Strike was so because it's just the lightning.
Which one was the most frustrating for you?
Probably Kojiro and the Six Blades.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Right? Fuck him.
I didn't mind that one.
Oh my god, that had me like. That's probably the number one reason this game took me so long.
That was probably the most frustrating, but the one that I thought was kind of it was grand was probably either the one where you get the bow or the one where you get like the hairy samurai armor. Genichiro.
Oh, and you have to collect
armor?
the keys from the fucking
Gosaku's armor. That was kind of a bit like, this is pretty okay. And then I can't really remember the bow one.
There was one of the two ones where you look at maps that I remember finding particularly boring. There was one where I was looking at, I was like,
try find the blue flowers.
I was trying to find one of the mountains and the flowers, and there's one of them in particular. For some reason, I just kept checking the wrong place. Like I just wasn't looking in the right area, and I was just kind of getting bored of searching for it. And by the time I got to it, it still didn't. It wasn't in any way. I think that one
ends with the jewel though as well, doesn't it?
I think so. It could be the one that you get the hallucination, and that part of it is cool. But all the lead up to it, I thought was really boring. No, that's the bow. That's one of the bows, actually. Sorry, you lift the bow up and it releases like a pressure gas thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't remember this fucking flower one. I can't remember what it was, but anyway.
That was another one where I was like, in my exploration, I came across that area where that bow would be.
Yeah.
But there was no bow there, obviously, at this point.
Right, because you hadn't like activated the quest.
Yeah. Well, I was at this area. I was like, man, this place is so beautiful. This is definitely going to be important later.
Kind of tell that about some areas, can't you? Going, this is for something.
Did you ever like? I came across this thing once, and it was so like out of the fucking like blue. There wasn't much of these moments, but I remember like just again exploring. I think it could be in within Act 2, I think, within that area. And I was just kind of like running along, and I kind of went up to a high point, and next minute I just see this samurai lady talking to another lady. Have you come across this?
Oh yeah, I've come across this.
Sure, actually.
Yeah.
And they were like talking about the Mongols. You can see them in the distance. If you go over there, you can have a look. And then it's like, okay. So I go over to have a look, but as I do that, I can hear her screaming. And the samurai one is after slaughtering the other lady. So when I come back around and to try see it, like, yeah, she's after killing her, and then she tries to take me on as well. Wow. And it was just such a random, like, I
love those. There's loads of moments like that in the game.
I kill her, but like, there's no conclusion to that.
As to why she did that or anything.
Yeah. It was almost like in Skyrim, you know, when you come across a bandit just trying to do something.
Again, this game is the first time since Skyrim I have felt that, where you're just, by just wandering the world, stuff will just happen.
Come across something.
And it's fucking great. You touched on something earlier as well. Like, there's some side quests where it's not a happy ending. Like someone might go, will you go save my family? So you kill the Mongols, but you find the family are dead, and you come back and tell them your family are dead. And then he's like, oh, I've nothing to live for now. And there was one about, like, there was a father and his two sons or something like that, and you go off and find one of the sons got killed or something like that, wasn't it? And there's one of them who goes, I don't want anything to do with my father, I'm not going back to him, so you just tell him something else, and you go, okay, I will. And when you go back to find, the father is actually after hanging himself in the meantime, and you're just like, holy shit, what's going on?
Like, it doesn't, some stories are quite brutal.
Yeah, so as beautiful as the game is, there's dark moments, but it's not an overly dark game either. So I think it's really well balanced.
Do you think the first clip we ever saw, did you do Lady Masako's story?
Oh yeah, no, I did all those. Yeah.
So the first presentation was basically the mission where you have to fight her.
Yeah,
You know,
that's when I got to it. I thought it was weird that they showed that.
yeah, because I was like, that was unfortunate for me because I was like, I wonder when that's going to happen because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah,
And end up being kind of
Yeah,
near
but
the end of her story, which I thought was such a weird, like out of all the bits of the game that they could have shown as a demonstration, I thought that was probably the weirdest.
very strange. But I also thought it was fucking cool when your man runs out and then the arrow just like pierces his face,
Yeah.
and there she is, and you're trying to protect this guy while she's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Our revenge mission was really cool, and him trying to like hold her back a little bit. I was gonna ask next actually of the main side quests, right? Obviously,
Which
there's
one's
lots
your
of little
favorite?
ones. Yeah, which one was your favorite as a whole? The whole quest.
Yuna's, I thought it was very weird. Just came out of nowhere and it was over. But that's
Yeah.
also a
I
really
liked it though.
fucking
Yeah,
dark one.
really dark.
This like again, this is something straight out of Batman.
I think I remember saying that to you, Eric, actually at the time.
Mm.
Me and you were talking about, because I don't think Adam got there yet, where I was like, I really like the way they touch on certain things without saying it outright. So there's a bit where they're talking about a guy and basically they make it very clear that he was a pedophile without using that word.
Was he not a child trafficker?
I think he,
Well,
because
he's
they
a bit
say,
of both.
and he took a particular liking to Taka.
Yes. That was, yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or there was another bit where Lady Masako says, I really liked my husband, but I also
Yeah,
really
that was such a
admired
cool
this other
reveal.
woman. That's a really nice way of just saying, because like she had an affair with this woman, right?
Yeah.
But without like really hamming it up or going on about it. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Like I get what you're saying. I understand. Like
Yeah,
I
that
thought the
was
writing
really, really
was
cool
really
done.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like the one with Tomoe seems to stand out to me the most. But I can't really remember which would be my favorite. That is the one that kind of like I remember that the most, and I liked seeing like they were trying to go after her and they find the stuff on the beach and she's after like after taking the ship and she's going to go to the mainland and she's given up this life and her master's at peace with that.
Yeah.
I quite liked that whole story.
Yeah.
But I think all of them, like that's the only one that I thought that each progression of it was good. Because I felt with some of the other ones, like the monk one, for example, like that one's really boring up until the end. Lady Masago's is actually pretty cool at certain parts, but other parts are kind of like, Jesus, this is dragging.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably Tomoe.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I found at first Tomoe was a bit like I was a bit like, oh, this is going, considering this is like, I don't know, part 1 or part 2 of 9, and I was like, oh, this is going to feel like it's going to drag on at the start, like.
Yeah.
But then when I kind of figured out the way it was working, I was like, oh, right, I only do a little bit now, and then I'll do a little bit more later, and then I'll finish it off in Act 3. Yeah, I think Tomoe's was kind of the best, especially because Ishikawa's character is so hypocritically great.
Yeah.
But I also, he was probably my favorite, but I really thought it was quite fun and funny to have the sake seller. Like, he kept getting himself into trouble, and he'd be like, no, don't worry, Jin, I help, and just like, stop, man, just stop. Just help.
Will you stop making deals with these horrible people? Yeah.
And then even his character change as well was so good that like at first he's just like, oh, I sell sake and I make money and it's gonna be great, and then all of a sudden he's like, never mind, no, I'm actually going to have a straight head and I'm going to help these people, like this guy has missing a leg, he'll never walk again and stuff. Like he just become really like, so while he was like a real shady dealer, he then became really like solemn and good. But then you have Norio the monk, who's all like, oh, I want to help and peaceful, and then he starts fucking butchering everyone by the end of it, and it's like, wow.
It's cool that
they're just having
all of the characters. I feel like none of them, any of the reoccurring ones anyway, they all have an arc. None of them are just there. Like they all have an actual arc, as well as your character having this huge arc that goes on for a very long time. My favorite side quest was also the Ishikawa Tomoe one. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved Ishikawa. I think he of the supporting.
He probably had
characters.
the best dialogue.
Yeah. He did. He had all the bygone gym moments. Just incredible little quotes and stuff. But also that actor, like every time he spoke, I was just like, you command my attention right now. Like I think you're really good. But I loved as well when you saw Tomoe and she had the mask on, and so you're not sure what she looks like. When you met her, I was like, I know that that's Tomoe. Like I wasn't fooled at all. But and then I liked that Jin said, I know who you are. Like I know you're Tomoe. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I thought they were going to like treat it like, I bet you the player's stupid. Do you know what I mean? So I was delighted that Jin, as me, the player, absolutely knew that she was Tomoe. And he was like, how long are we going to keep this up? I thought it was so fucking cool. And then when she was like, trying to turn you against your master as well, you know, as it was going on. And there was points then when I actually stopped and went, maybe Ishikawa is a bastard, and maybe there is something like... Yeah. She kind of got me, you know. She got into my head a little bit. I thought it was really, really good story arc.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Jin is not a fucking idiot in this entire game at all.
At all. No.
Because it's fucking Batman. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
What's your favorite? Okay, so then what's your
favorite gadget? What's your favorite smoke bomb?
What's your favorite line of dialogue? No, but what's your favorite thing that Jin does in the entire game? Like your favorite kind of Jin moment?
All of them.
Everything he does, especially bathing in the springs.
Yeah.
I love.
Did you just get Did you actually unlock that outfit?
Which
one? That's
the one he's just a loincloth.
Yeah, he's just his little loincloth.
Brilliant.
Which actually comes with the benefit of you run, no one can hear you.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
There's nothing like being a half-naked dude just sprinting across the plains of grass.
I mean, that's like that reminded me of the episode from Samurai Jack, where Jack he takes a bathe in hot spring, but when he gets out, all of his clothes and gear have been taken, so he does have to run around in a loincloth trying to track down his stuff. I was like,
probably a reference to that then.
Yeah.
It might be Samurai Jack. What a show.
Amazing show. Fucking favorite thing he does. Might actually have to be. Well, I you know what, it's too hard to define. He does a lot of cool shit in it, but one that's really standing out to me is when he poisons the Mongols to save all the samurai. And when they come across the bridge, he's walking out holding his friend's head.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say that mission when he really so he was tiptoeing in and out of the ghost and the samurai up to that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's the point. He's like, I am the ghost. He puts on the new costume that was made for him by Taka, and then you sneak in and you're sneaking through and you poison everything, and they all die this horrible, horrific death. And then you have that final fight with your friend Ryozo, and you cut his head off. Yeah, for me that is the best moment, like Jin moment of the game.
Yeah,
and even like the lead up to that, where he's like arguing with his uncle about how you're going to get everyone killed. And his uncle is like, but at least they'll die with honor and that kind of shit. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? So that bit was just incredible.
And also, while Adam didn't get this ending, when you do kill your uncle and he's crying because of it, and the screaming and agonizing.
Like, he does. Yeah, he roars out pain as well about it. Yeah, it's like it's not. Yeah, he doesn't do it and is like happy to do it at all. Yeah,
no,
it is treated with great respect. That for Jin is hard to do.
Even that's like reminds me of like Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting in that.
All right, yeah, that kind of. But it's like the roles reversed nearly.
The roles are reversed, but it's still that kind of. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm curious as to of the many side quests that are in the game. So the non kind of serialistic side quests, so like one-off side quests. Was there one in particular that stood out to you that you like really liked or really enjoyed or that really surprised you? It's I have one that like I absolutely fucking loved, and I just like. Do you guys remember the one with the foxes?
Oh yeah, that was good.
I fucking loved that. Where then the fox shrine is destroyed, and then there's a fox and you follow it and you get to kill Mongols, but when eventually it leads you to where the Mongols have been hunting and killing foxes. And so in that moment, you can take it two ways. One, the messengers of the gods have sent you to avenge the shrine.
Yeah.
Or the fox is leading you to avenge its family. I thought that was so good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those little moments where it's like, yeah, I follow foxes all the time. And at that point, when I saw the dead foxes, I was actually like, oh, you fuckers. Killed my friends. I was like, oh, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good. Were there any other ones that you guys thought were...
I thought
particular-
the fake samurai
Yeah, it's good. The
was a
coward
pretty
one?
it was a pretty nice one.
Yeah, it's a good
I don't know if he was a coward. I think wasn't he just a guy who just found the armor and he put it on just to be like, oh, I'm a
To be
samurai.
treated nicely.
Yeah, look after me. And then all the women are like, oh yeah, he was nice to have around though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They knew as well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Playing into his fantasy.
It's like no one in the game is an idiot. Or like
No.
very few people are like people are not they're not stupid in this game. Like I think the characters are written well. Even the ones that have very little time in it.
Yeah.
There's another great one where they're talking about like the woods are haunted.
Yeah, that's what I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say. Yeah, because like I at that point in the game, I still wasn't sure whether this was going to be dipping into the mystical or not.
Oh yeah.
So when they were going on about this, like the ghosts of samurai are like taking people out, and then
Was that
You
the
just got-
Yarikawa one?
uh
Or the one where like you go in and you see people hanging in the trees?
hanging in the
It's-
trees.
Yeah.
It's that one, yeah.
I was like, this is fucking creepy
Yeah.
imagery.
But then you just find out it's just bandits.
Yeah. And I
And,
actually really like that.
yeah, that's really really cool. I'm trying to think what was the other one that stood out to me. Gone, can't remember. But I love that one. But like, because I loved how they had like the fog, the mist, and like you had the musician telling the story as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they're
Yeah.
building up this legend of this like haunted forest.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those mythic quests that you stop before it becomes a myth, nearly. Like it's a
Yeah.
myth in the making, but because you kill those bandits there and then, the myth dies and it doesn't turn into like a great legend.
Oh yeah, the other one was something similar. It was like another kind of legend, and it was like people leave these kind of pillars of smoke
Yeah,
and a wish.
the
So
spirit
it's
of
like
Yarikawa
another
was.
another vigilante essentially.
Exactly,
And,
yeah.
And then you have a jewel, don't you?
Yeah, and you're-
under the this sacred tree.
I thought that was so fucking cool that people were like leaving prayers like, will you please kill this person for me?
Mm.
It also reminded me of, not to draw too many comparisons with Skyrim as well, but you know the way the Dark Brotherhood thing worked in Skyrim, where people would pray to Dark Brotherhood to kill someone for them, and then that's how they operate. It was kind of like that as well, where this person would pick up and then they talk about them as a ghost or a vengeful spirit, but it's actually just it's a person who's. It's so sick. The game is. I think as well at the time when we did the first impressions one, we talked a bit about the music and we were like, it's fine, serviceable. By the time I got to the end of it, I was like, the music's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think again I was talking about. I think I mentioned because you were saying, the music is fine. And I was like, no, there's a particular music, and I think it's at Castle Chimera. I think they use it again when you're doing the ghost attack, and I think it's like the reoccurring main epic theme,
Mhm.
which
Right.
is just so fucking good.
Yeah, it is good. But as I remember as well, the music, not that I can hum it or anything, but after your horse dies, no boo. Actually, I was playing my girlfriend Ash was beside me, and she was kind of half paying attention. She wasn't really paying attention. Like, she was doing something else really. But I was like, oh no, no boo died. She went, we have no booze. I thought that was funny. But also kind of ruined the moment. But yeah, that moment where you get to that, like they've burnt down this village and it just looks like hell, and there's this big fuck off tree, and they've been poisoning people with the poison that you've been using, and the music is just sorrowful at that point.
That reminded me of 300. They
Little
came from the
bit.
blackness.
Yeah, a little bit. Or like the cover of a heavy metal record.
That whole like I love that when you look at the map and the name of that area is Endless Forest,
Yeah,
and there's just nothing because they've just burnt it down.
yeah. And
All
it
the
looks,
trees.
the visuals are amazing. Like it looks incredible. The set pieces in this game are fucking.
Because you kind of I remember like being up near that mountain and wanting to explore a little bit more. And I saw on that map it said Endless Forest. I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait to check that out. And I didn't realize I've already been through it. So when I ride back down and have a look and I see this like scarred earth and just the trees completely burnt to the ground, I'm just like, I'm going to fucking get them.
Yeah. I thought that bit was cool as well because it kind of showed like this is what the place could look like by the time the Mongols are done.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a simple case of, taking hostages and kind of killing the culture. Like that kind of was like, oh, they could really destroy the beautiful landscape of this land. Like all those beautiful colors and flowers that we saw throughout the game that we loved.
Yeah.
They're going to take all that away. And I got that kind of feeling of like, like Sam's desire to save the Shire in the Lord of the Rings, where it's like Mordor will destroy the natural green earth that we love. Like,
See,
I was like, this
is this is the type of game that should have been like a Lord of the Rings game.
They should look at this to make a Lord of the Rings game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Open world, Middle Earth game that's, really well done.
Yeah, maybe play as an elf, something that's really connected with the land and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, Sucker Punch, give us a Middle Earth game.
Come on, someone do it. Yeah, that's
Ghost of Middle Earth.
That's what we're really here to greenlight. I suppose because we called the last episode that we did the Ghost of Tsushima initial review, and we don't really do reviews. We're not actually we're not fucking critics. Like we're just here to give our thoughts, and usually that's all it is us.
We're here for the bands.
Our take, yeah, and having fun. But because we call that initial review, this one will have to be called the final review. And so with that in mind, not really doing a review. What would you give this game out of 10? We don't have to do that breakdown that we normally would do. We could revisit and do that, see does it change. But just off the top of your head, what do you think you would give this game out of 10?
9.5.
Are we doing points? I didn't think we did points.
Other than that, then 9.
So Eric, you would have to give it a 10, I think.
No, it would have to be a 9 then.
9 out of 10?
Yeah, because it does actually have some of those glitchy errors where like the feet would go into the owl ground, or like he's not properly petting. Like, there's those little things that obviously would just drop it by that one. Okay. If we're not doing points.
Yeah, like we're not going to go into the breakdown of it at the moment. Just off the top of your head, what you think you'd give it. I could see Adam looking down at something. I think he is doing the breakdown.
He's already done it. He is a PowerPoint presentation.
I actually did already do it. That's what I'm trying to fucking find.
Right. Oh, fucking wow. Okay. Well, if you have, fucking give us all.
I'm trying to find it because I was doing it when we did the Last of Us one.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, just for my own personal interest, wondering like, okay, well, how would I give Final Fantasy and how would I give Ghost of Tsushima? So I've already kind of done it, but like that was like Ghost of Tsushima early impressions, I guess. It wasn't like the full thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But if I find it, yeah, I think I don't know where the fuck that's gone.
Well, we can revisit the breakdown another time anyway. Plus, your breakdown might be different now that you finished the game. Just off the top of your head kind of thing. Like when we were doing The Last of Us as well, we went, off the top of my head, I'd probably give this, but let's see what happens when we do the breakdown. And then you do the breakdown. It's like, yeah, no, it's exactly what I would have given it.
I'd probably give it 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good. Yep.
I would also, off the top of my head, give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do. I think this is a 9 out of 10 game. I don't think it's any lower.
At some point, we really all need to choose a game that we're just going to disagree on.
We do. When we talk about Arkham Knight,
we slightly disagreed on it. We slightly disagreed on Last of Us. I mean, Chris gave it quite a high in comparison.
No, but I mean, like when it comes to like personal things, it's like with Ghost of Tsushima, Heavenly Strike. Oh yeah, that was all of our favorite little thing. And that moment there, that thing that Jin did. Yeah, that we all loved that.
What was your favorite side quest? Ishikawa and Tomoe.
Yeah. Like we're gonna really have to try to find a game where we're gonna all disagree.
I'm sure it'll come, but at the moment, those are our final thoughts, at least for now, on Ghost of Tsushima. We probably will revisit this when that multiplayer comes out, which was a fucking awesome announcement, especially the fact that it's free for anyone who already has the game. That is so fucking cool. It's coming in October, and we will definitely be playing that multiplayer when it comes. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments what you think about that multiplayer that's coming, and also what you think about Ghost of Tsushima as a whole, and what would you rate it out of 10. You can do a breakdown for it if you want, in terms of the different aspects of the game, gameplay, graphics, etc. Or just straight ahead, off the top of your head, out of 10, what would you give it? What were your favorite parts of the game? And if you're listening to us in audio platforms, yeah, you got to talk fast when you're doing this shit. When you're listening to it in audio platforms, you could get in touch on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take. Let us know what you thought about this game. Let us know your favorite bits. Let us know what you didn't like about the game. Do please get in touch, and we would love to hear from you guys. Also, subscribe if you're. You can follow us on Patreon. No, I'm fucking joking. We don't do that.
Play the Alarm Wave 2, man.
You played the Alarm Wave 2, man. We got a whole emporium of Alarm Wave 2, man. Going up to you. Yeah, no more fucking around. That concludes our episode on Ghost of Tsushima. Thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you about more crazy shit next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Eric.
What?
What's your favorite of Chris's outros?
What is your favorite out of my outros?
I
you
think it was that one, on the basis of that he was well aware. He was self-aware that he was going really super fast and saying a lot of stuff he probably didn't need to say.
Well, fair play, Chris.
Well,
Like, you don't even have it memorized, do you?
fool of
Just
us.
like, that's just like,
No, that's improvised.
that's info.
Everything I do is improvised. I don't practice. I don't learn shit. Fuck that.
He's got a
Hold
whole
on.
Robert
Oh, now
Pattinson
I'm
act.
self-conscious. Is the outro shit?
No?
Was that good?
Yeah, that was good.
No, I just want to talk, giving Eric another favorite question to answer at the end with a
Someday,
nice way to close it.
someday one of you are going to have to do the intro and the outro. I'd love to hear fucking yous do it.
No.
It's really, really
it's like-
monotone and slow. YouTube
you can
is a
get
thing.
on, what are we on? The Twitter. We don't really use that.
It's like, you can find us on Skype if we ever invited you on.
Oh Lord. You can listen to us on Anchor. Right, I gotta stop the recording. That's gas.